This video is set up to explain the purpose of the course, the objectives, contact information, what you're supposed to be able to do in terms of assignments and things like that. This course, this Intro to Research course, is an introductory kind of course. The goal of it is to provide the new students the knowledge, skills, and dispositions that they need to read and understand and appreciate research, to write a mini lit review, and for some of you who will end up taking applied research to outline a potential research investigation. We try to tie those two things together as much as possible. As far as the way the course is set up, this is an online course, but we're going to utilize a lot of different types of learning strategies to meet the objectives of the course. The required resources for the course, there's a book. It's called from Schuyler Huck, Reading Statistics and Research, 6th edition. Evidently, there's a mix-up at the bookstore. This is the only required book. I also recommend that you get an APA manual if you don't already have one. We're in 6th edition right now. You could probably get by if you don't have it because there's enough resources online that you can look up what you need to know for the most part. There's also some guides that I'll provide to you. So if you don't have one, if this is probably the only time that you're ever going to need it, I wouldn't bother with buying one. It's just really not worth it right now. We can get by without it. The attendance for the class. Although this is an online class, there's also a time designated between 5:30 and 8:20 on Tuesdays. Now, although we don't really need to use that this week, most of the time we'll be using at least a portion of that time. But because it's online, we want to pull in some other resources. So some of the you'll use videos for this course. We'll use discussion threads for this course. It kind of depends on the best way to help you learn the material. This is my attendance policy for a face-to-face, and it's still kind of the same thing in terms of being involved in an online course. And basically it's this, is that you have to spend quite a bit of time on this to make the course work. In general, the rule for a course is that you spend 3 hours preparing for a course for each hour of credit that you're taking. So if this is a 3-hour course, then in theory you should spend 9 hours a week getting ready for it. And from what I've seen, that's about what it takes to keep up. There's a lot of reading associated with it. There are reading assignments associated with it. There is writing associated with it, which takes a lot of time outside of the class setting to keep up with it. In addition to the actual 3 hours a week dedicated to coursework, as we've said, there is a time that's kind of designated for this course that's on Tuesdays from 5:30 to 8:20, but really you need to be engaged in the actual learning, not just getting ready for class, but the actual learning for 3 hours a week. So we're talking a total of 12 hours a week that you need to be spending on this course. There's nobody to check up on you. There is not an attendance policy in that I don't deduct points if you're not in class, so to speak. But there does seem to be a very strong correlation between how much time people spend on this and how well are they doing the course. Some of you probably heard this course has a reputation, and the reputation is this: it is the hardest course in this college. There's a lot of courses where you can go in and talk about your feelings and just reflect on what you think and how you feel and walk out with an A. And I'll be honest with you, that is not this class. This class is pretty tough. There's a lot associated with it, and it takes a lot of your time to keep up with it if you want to do well. There's some people who resign themselves to, if I can get a C and get out of here, I'm happy with that. That can work too. Elluminate. Elluminate is a software program that allows us to have virtual classrooms. The link that you need is down here in the syllabus. I've also put that in the module for the introductory materials. There's some resources about how to get in or how to access that, the training and support, what it is that you need to be able to do to keep up with that type of software. The thing about the Elluminate is the advantage to it is it allows us to communicate in synchronous learning all at once, just like we were sitting in a classroom together. We can do presentations. I will do presentations on that about the material. We'll also record those presentations so that you can see it multiple times. But the thing about it is I want you to keep in mind that when you're in Elluminate, when you're in that online meeting classroom, that is a virtual classroom. You wouldn't bring your spouse or your significant other or your kids or your dog or your cat or whatever with you to class. So please put all of them outside of the room while you're in this virtual classroom. I want you to, it's important that you treat this like it's a regular learning environment. With all those other distractions going on, you're not be able to engage in class, and that's important that you be able to do that. Discussion threads. We use discussion threads in this course to help with your learning. It's important that you engage in those discussion threads. And in that respect, you are evaluated on how well you're discussing. It's important, and I want you to see this, that you post a substantial response to each of the discussion prompts for each week and respond to your peers posting at least twice a week. A substantial posting, something substantive, something thorough. That doesn't mean good job. I agree. I disagree. You need to have a substantial discussion just like you would in class. That's how you get the 10 points for that. If you're doing a so-so job, that's 5 points. If you're doing, I already see something I need to fix. If you're not doing a good job, that is 0 points. As far as, and you can read this part about academic freedom and diversity on your own, as far as the course assignments, as we said, basically there are 9 weekly threads. Some of them will have more than one thread, but basically for each unit there is associated threads. There's 10 points for each of those. There are unit assignments. There's 5 unit assignments. What these are articles that you'll read. I have a set of questions that you will answer based upon those readings. And those are worth 25 points each, and there's 5 of those. The first draft of the mini lit review, which is due April 8th, is worth 24 points. You'll be receiving a rubric that tells you how you're evaluated on this. And then the final draft of the mini lit review is due on May 4th. That's worth 52 points. The final draft is worth more than the mini draft because people make a lot of mistakes on the first one. They don't understand exactly what is meant by analyzing research. So that's why you're not really penalized very much the first time through. Here's the scale for the grades. Late work is not accepted for any reason. If it's due at midnight on February 3rd, that's when it's due. There are no extensions. If we have to move a date because we're not covering material, that's one thing. But once that assignment date is set, that's it. This is also the other important caveat. There is no extra credit available. The grade that you get is the grade that you earn. You got to know up front there's not a way to earn extra credit because it's been my experience. 1, if I make extra credit available for one person, I've got to give it to everybody. And 2, the people that I have done that with, if they have a D in the course, they tend to do D quality extra credit work, and it doesn't change anything. So there's just nothing for that now. As far as what is required on a weekly basis, right now, for this week, we're doing introduction and course requirements and expectations. So the syllabus is set up to where you can see what you're doing this week and what you need to do to get ready for the next week. So, for example, January 21st, we'll be covering types of data, measures of central tendency, descriptive statistics, bivariate correlations. To do that, to get ready for this, you need to read chapters 9, 2, and 3. Read chapter 9 first, prior to getting ready for this. And then you will stair-step your way down through the course like that. This is what we're doing next week. This is what you need to do after class next week to get ready for this. And you'll also see when the assignment is due and what that assignment covers. That will show up in a Dropbox. It is really helpful to me if you will turn your assignments in to that Dropbox. That's where the uh, draft of the lit review will go, both the rough draft and the final draft. I like them to be in there because that's where the rubric is associated. As far as the rest of the course, if you run into problems, if you got immediate problems, you need to email me at this address. Um, like you, I can't spend all day every day sitting D2L looking at that email. You need to email me at that one if you run into a problem, or call me at this phone number. I'm here most of the time. If I'm not, just leave a voicemail message and I will get back to you. You need to start strong in this course. It takes a lot of work. It is time consuming. You will have some time later on in the course when we get through the material to spend quite a bit of time on your writing. One of the other things that I want to say about these assignments, students seem to struggle with these at first because it's really different kinds of thinking. The students that I've seen that do very well at it are students who are working with somebody else on these assignments. I'm perfectly fine with that. You will turn in your own work. You'll be graded only on your own work for which your name is associated with it. But I'm okay with y'all working together on it. Students seem to understand the material better like that. I'm okay with you asking questions about the assignments. If you're not sure about the way that you've answered something, you can email me about it or you can call me about it. Now, I'm not saying that I will tell you the answer to question number 1, the answer to question number 2, but I will tell you whether or not you're on the right track. The other thing, I want to go back to the issue of the weekly discussion threads. In order to maintain everybody's sanity in this course, when we post the discussion threads, I'm going to break you into 3 groups at the beginning of the semester. There's 12 people in this course, so I'm going to put you in a group of 4 people. So you're only having to deal with 3 other people for any thread that you post. When you get 12 people in one thread, it's really easy to lose track of who you're responding to. So hopefully that will help make this a little bit easier to respond to. If you have questions, please feel free to email me and get started on the reading.